Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Om Bhuvah Swaha, Tatsavitra Varenayam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat. Asto Ma Satgamya, Tamso Ma Jyotirgamya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamya. Om Sehna Vavatu, Sehna Bhunaktu, Sehviryam Karvavahi, Tejasvinavadhitamastu, Ma Vidvishavahi. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti Om. So last week, before we started this class, I was talking about Jivatma, Atma, Paramatma, all those questions. And I had a question after the class from Manju. And let me read the question to you. You might have the same question. So that's why I thought that I should answer that before this class today. She said, when Atma comes in contact with Prakriti, it is called Jivatma. Right? That's what I said last time. And Atma is non-movable. Then when a person dies, then how only Jivatma travels still be called Jivatma, leaving the Atma behind, because the Prakriti is left behind. Okay. So first of all, the Jiva Atma is traveling. Prakriti doesn't mean only the grosser Prakriti. Prakriti doesn't mean only the body. This man is also a Prakriti, Buddhi is also a Prakriti, Ahankar is also a Prakriti, Chit is also a Prakriti, Vasanas are also Prakriti. So when the Atma leaves, leaving this physical body, it is still a Jivatma which leaves. Is that clear? Because sometimes we just think that Prakriti is only the gross things which we see, which we can feel. It's even beyond that. It's a subtle and the causal also. That's a Prakriti. So as long as it's enveloped in this subtle and the causal Prakriti, it's still Jivatma. Okay. So Shuddha Buddha Atma has taken the form of a Jivatma actually. I always give you the example, the air trapped in a balloon. That particular air, it seems like it's moving with the balloon. So the balloon is the Prakriti. The air in there is the Atma, if you want to look at it that way. When it's moving away, what is moving? The balloon is moving. So the same way, this Atma trapped in the subtle body and the causal body is moving away. Where does it go? It goes where the mind takes it. Manaiva manushya nam karnam bandh moksha. So man is the one. That's why all our sadhana is to clean the mind. Clean it, calm it, make it peaceful. Okay. So balloon goes, you can puncture the balloon here. Where does the air go? Into the atmosphere. It doesn't have to go anywhere. It's one with the whole thing. The same way, when we puncture our subtle body and the causal body, where does the Atma go? It becomes one with the Brahma. So I hope it is a little bit more clear, but if anybody has a question, we can have a discussion right now before we start our other book.
Namaste, Hershji.
Namaste, Manju.
अच्छा हर्षी जब when you're saying कि then it means that atma is wrapped around with our all the things we did and man, so all these things go with the atma,
Yes, yes.
so it
Until
okay.
until we have risen above them, until we have totally detached from them, man, buddhi, chit, ahankar, and vasanas, they go with the atma.
So until unless atma get rid of all the upper
Yes,
layers,
yes.
they all go together.
It's always a jivatma.
It's called jivatma. Okay,
It is
so the
called a
whole thing
jivatma
goes.
as long as, because this is also a layers of the prakriti, subtle layers, but still prakriti. So as long as atma is entrapped in the prakriti, it's a jivatma. Okay.
हर्षी,
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
हर्षी, ये सुभद्रा बोल रही हूँ.
Yes, Subhadra.
You just said that it man, buddhi, chit, ahankar, all that gets cleansed. We rise above. When we rise above it, then you are able to become, the atma becomes one with the universe, right?
Yes.
But if it is, if you let go of all these things and you go above, where does that go? Yeah, but it's still part of the consciousness, right? Everything is like when you this you just told me the avarna bolte, all the covers which are there on it, those covers, when you puncture it, it becomes one with the air, like the air all becomes. So my question is that atma is subtlest of the, which is little. So all these things are getting merged into the consciousness. Ultimately, the atma also merges into the consciousness.
Okay. Everything else other than the atma goes back to the prakriti.
So they are two different.
Yeah, definitely. There is a consciousness and there's a prakriti. There's a purush and there's a prakriti. The prakriti portion goes to the prakriti. Dust to dust.
But then when you follow the principle, of course, this is the Sankhya philosophy is the dualism, but when you feel that there is only one truth, and that's Advait, one, then all these things should, how can they be two? This all should be in one, no? How can you explain it in the one philosophy? Like,
when we say it's all one, that really means that it doesn't change. It's an unchanging one. The changing part is called Prakriti.
Prakriti, okay.
So Prakriti part goes into the Prakriti, but actually Prakriti, whose power is Prakriti? It's also Brahm's power. So in that sense, it's only one. Okay.
But don't we say that all the soul is the observer of all these things, Harji? When we do think that through the Atma you perceive, like when we are thinking everything, the Atma actually gives a light to all our man, buddhi, chit, and all that.
Atma is the energy which gives the light, and we got to learn to identify with the Atma. It's not. It's like a non-identification. It's not that we ignore it, but non-identification. We are not supposed to ignore the body or the mind or the intellect or the ego, but we are not that.
So
and
the process,
this experience can happen even while we have the body. In fact, it is supposed to be when we are in this body. It's not at the time of the death. So right here, right now, this experience we are supposed to have, that we are the Atma.
So we are not identifying with all those things, thereby
we are saying that those are the layers for certain purpose. But I am
that
Aham Brahmasmi. I is Brahm. Okay, this is what we need to speak. And that's where we'll see that destruction of the fear, destruction of the death, destruction of the decay, all that fear vanishes. Because Atma never dies. So when we truly experience it, we understand it, then what is the fear? Fear is always because of the wrong identification.
Mm, mm, mm.
Okay? So you become fearless, you become loving. Because there's no difference in you
And me or
Atma level than a bug, a bird,
Mm.
or anybody else, or anything else, or even a rock.
How to experience it?
How to experience sadhana? Satsang, seva, swadhyay,
Okay.
tap, dan,
Mhm.
yajna. All those things are enumerated in all the scriptures to experience this. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
Because everything in the universe, everything, I'm not talking about this just our earth over here, in the universe is simply an elaboration of yourself. That's all. We are all one. And this is the state of realization. And once you realize it, then love alone is your spontaneous expression. Love alone. Because that has become your nature. No fear, because fear and love, they are opposite of each other. It's like the same spectrum, but one side is fear, one side is love. The closer you move towards love, away you are from the fear. And this is what we need to experience. Okay, so that's why we are studying it. Daily studies help us, daily practice helps us. Then I'm glad that you guys are thinking about it to understand it completely. And do call me, do send me message, because I like to know how much you have understood. Only then I can go deeper into these topics. Okay, so thank you very much. Let's start with our study of this great scripture, which where he just all he's talking about this oneness. I am the Atma, which is Brahma, nothing else. So unless we practice this, we cannot experience it. But still, it's good to know what are we going to experience after practicing. Chapter 2, verse number 25. That's where we ended our last week class, where Dattatreya is saying, as the jar space becomes one with the cosmic space, on the destruction of the jar. It's almost like I told you the balloon over here, the scriptures are talking about a ghat. Ghat means a ghada, a pot, a jar, a jug. So as the jar space becomes one with the cosmic space on the destruction of the jar. See, jar is the Prakriti. Even though the space is also a Prakriti, but it is analogy so that we can understand it. So the yogi after death merges into his real nature, the supreme self. Who does? A yogi does. And how do we become yogi? After attaining this human body. A dog cannot become a yogi. A cat cannot become a yogi. Sure, human beings have learned from animals how to stretch, how to relax, how to be in the moment, but they cannot become a yogi. Only human beings have the capability and a higher intellect to understand this completely. So that's why I always tell you, and these are the words of my Guruji or other rishis also, do not waste a human life. According to our Sanchit Karam, we don't know next life is going to be a human birth or not. There's no guarantee about that. So in this lifetime, we are as a human being and we are intellectuals also. Right now our senses are working. We can hear, we can see, We can talk, we can read, we can sit, we can help. We should not waste another moment. This is the chance. Now let's start the class with number 26. Uktaha iyam karam yukta nam mati ya antehe api sagati na cha uktaha yog yukta nam mati ya antehe api sagati. So I've been telling you that this is a very simple scripture actually when it comes to the language, Sanskrit language. Okay, but at the same time the philosophy is very deep. So ukta, it has been said, iyam, this, karam, action, yukta nam, yoked, okay, of those who have been yoked, yukt. Mati means intellect. Ya means like this, antehe, in the end. Api means even, sagati, destiny. Na means not, cha means and, uktaha, been said, yog, yoga, yukta nam, yoked or devoted to, those who are devoted to yoga, yukta nam. Mati, intellect, ya means that which is, antehe, in the end, api means also, sagati, that means the future, the incarnation. It has been said that the followers of the action, that whatever state they desire at the time of death, they attain. Lord Krishna said in Bhagavad Gita also, when you are leaving this physical body, wherever your mind is, you will end up there. Okay? So it has been said about the followers of actions. That means in a karam yoni. Karam yoni. And all human beings are, we are karam yoni. That whatever state they desire at the time of death, they attain. But this has not been said about the followers of yoga. Followers of yoga means the yogis who have reached that oneness, because they have already merged their mind. They have transcended their mind. Constantly they are merged with God. See the clarity over here between these, the people who are still seeking, working, thinking, meditating, but the people who are merged, yukta. It's almost like if you are trying to get on the horse versus you are already established on the horse. So yogi means already established, yukta. Okay, you will see that clarity of this in the next verse. Yagati karam yukta nam sach vag indriyat vadet yogi nam yagati kva api hi akthya bhavat urjitaha. Ya means which, gati means destiny here. Karam is action, yukta nam, of those devoted to or yoked, yukta nam. Sa means that which is, cha means and, vag. Vag is the voice, vag, like from the voice. Indriyat, from senses. Vadet, would say. Like a vad means say, would say, vadet. Yogi nam, of yogis. Ya means that, gati means destiny. Kva api, nowhere. He means therefore, akathyaha. Akathya means unsuitable to describe. So it's hard to describe akathya. Bhavat, being or existence, Urjita, endowed with strength. Destiny of the followers of action can be described by the organ of speech. Okay, you can say from your mouth, people with the good karmas will go to a good place. People with the bad karmas will go to the bad place. So you can say, you can talk about it, you can elaborate on it. Vag. But the goal of the yogi is inexpressible. You cannot talk about it because words are very limited. Words can talk about this earth, words can talk about this heaven, word can talk about the hell. Words cannot speak more than that. Why? He says because it is not an object to be acquired. Something we need to acquire, sure, we can talk about it. Subjective knowledge cannot be expressed. Just like yesterday we were talking about, love cannot be expressed. If you try to express love, it becomes dirty. You are limiting that. That's why the yesterday's topic also I said it's just like love. Cannot express it. Over here, this great yogi is telling us in a beautiful, simple language that the goal of a yogi is inexpressible because it's not an object to be acquired. In a worldly sense, we can say, yes, I want to work hard so that I can become a CEO, CFO, have this position, that position, this much money. But yogi goal is not, cannot be limited to the words. 28. Evam gyatvaha tu amum margam yogi nam na ev kalpitam vikalap varjanam tesham swayam siddhi parvartate. Evam means thus. Gyatva, having known.
Hersh,
Yes, friend.
about the 27, why cannot this be described? Like, why could we not say that the yogis are not after the worldly things, but the yogis are looking for inner happiness, connection with Brahm? Why is he saying that it cannot be talked about, it cannot be described?
Because it cannot describe fully. Those are just the words.
But aren't those the words too when we are attached to the?
These are just the words, very limited words.
It's his way of saying that
It's just a way of saying, and then it's very limited when we say that inner happiness or inner peace and love. Those are just the words, but the oneness with the Brahm, it is something to be experienced. Even the experience of the samadhi, I'm not talking about a yogi who's totally yukta. Even a experience of a samadhi cannot be expressed. And that is only a first step towards this.
Is that because?
And that's why this great.
Is that because
it cannot be expressed in words? We have seen that in all the Upanishads also. After doing the sadhana, when a yogi has attained this, they only blabber about it. Didn't we see the same thing in Ashtavakra Gita? What happened to Janakaji? He could not explain the whole thing, what he was experiencing. You will see that once you experience, you won't be able to express.
Then I'll know what he's talking about.
Yes, then you will also understand what he's talking about over here.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Words, short, it's like they just stay only at a very earth level. Okay, words cannot express it. The feelings cannot be conveyed into the words. Even a regular, when we want to say to somebody, I love you so much, can we really express? We can't. We use that, oh, I love you this much, from a moon to earth and back, and whatever words we use. Or sometimes we say infinite. But still, those are words. We really cannot express it completely. The same thing is over here. Okay? So maybe you can, what you need to do is then, if you think you can express it, experience it, then try to express it. Then you will know. That's what my direction will be. But I don't think it can be expressed. Okay? So eva means thus, gyatva having known, tu means but, amum. Amum means that which is beyond. Margam, path. Yogi Nam, of the yogis. Na means not, ev means thus. Kalpitam, imagined. Vikalap, imagination. Or a doubt, vikalap. Varjanam, quit, or like a free from. Varjanam, te sham, of them. Swayam, self. Siddhi, supreme attainment, accomplishment. Parvartate, tendency or inclination. Knowing this, one should not imagine any particular path for the yogis. Why? Because they give up desire. They give up doubt. And therefore, their perfection takes place spontaneously. So desire and doubt, these are the things we got to let go. Desire. As long as we have a desire, we are still in this worldly realm. Let go of the desire to even attain liberation. Let go of the desire, any kind of a desire, and doubt also. So Dattatreya is giving us these two things to work on. He says perfection will take place spontaneously. It will happen spontaneously. It will not take that long then. Time only takes at the level of practice. Sure, it takes a lot of time to earn money, to buy groceries, to bring it home, to cook, to serve. But appeasement of the hunger, it doesn't take that long after that. Once we eat it, we feel satisfied. So preparations take time. The same way on this also. Preparation takes time, but perfection takes place spontaneously. Vikalp varjanam tesham swayam siddhi parvartate. You don't have to make any effort for that. Swayam siddhi. Okay. Then he says tirthe va anyatan gehe va yatra kutra mrita api va na yogi pashyate garbham pare brahmani liyate. Tirthe, in a holy place, Tirath. Va means or, anyatan, that's a low caste. Gehe, house of. Va means or, yatra, wherever. Kutra, anywhere. Mritaha, died. Api means even, va means or, na means not, yogi. Pashyate, perceive. Garbham, womb. Pare, supreme. Brahmani, in the Brahm, liyate, is dissolved. No matter where a yogi may die, whether it be a holy place or in the house of an low caste. And low caste could be in a butcher's place, somebody who's doing some kind of a filthy work. He never again enters into a mother's womb. He merges into Supreme Brahm. So it's not the place which matters, where we're going to let go of the body. It's not the time. It's not the direction. It's what kind of a sadhana we have done beforehand. It's not at the time of the death. So that's why a yogi is always, even a yoga abhyasi is always ready. Always ready to let go of this body. So that means remembering God all the time, keeping that connection. That's what yoga is. In the Katha Upanishad also, we learned about this merges word, merge. Over there, the Rishi said, in fact, who was the Rishi in Katha Upanishad? Yamraj himself is teaching Nachiketa, a young boy. What did he say? When all the desires that dwell in the heart fall away, then the mortal becomes immortal and attains Brahm. So the real problem is, the real obstacle is the desires. Lord Krishna said the same thing. Kam, Krodh, Lobh. 3 gateways to hell, he said. So if you want to go back and look at the notes of your Katha Upanishad studies, chapter number 2, section number 3, verse number 14, so that you can check it out. What is Yamraj, excuse me, saying over there? Desires. So we got to look into our own mind, because that's where the desires are. Before sleeping every night, we should take an inventory. How many desires I have? Have they multiplied from the last night? Or was I able to reduce them today with my sadhana? Every single day. Any desires, even sattvic desires. No desires, just do your duty without thinking about the desires. And that was the main reason I mentioned duty yesterday. A yoga abhyasi's duty is to keep an eye on the ultimate goal. That is the duty, that's the paramount duty. Other duties are superficial. Superficial duties, we make them so important. The main duty we forget. That's why we don't see any vertical progress. Got to become serious about it. If we are studying something like this. Sahajam, ajam, achintyam, yatu pashyet savrupam, ghatati yadi yada ishtam lipyate na ev doshe. Sakrid api tad bhavat karam kinchin kuryat tad api nacha vibadha sanyami va tapasvi. Beautiful verse. Sahajam, innate. Ajam, unborn. Achintyam, unthinkable. Ya tu, one who. Pashyet, would see. Svarupam, true nature. Ghatati, does or apps. Yadi means if. Yada ishtam, according to desire. Lipyate, tainted. Na means not. Ev means indeed. Dosh, doshai, by faults. Sakrid, even once. Api means even. Tad bhavat, due to the absence of that. Absence of what? Those faults, the dosh. Karam is action. Kinchin, anything. Na means not. Kuryat, would do. Tad means that. Api even. Na not. Cha and. Vibadha, restrained. Sanyami, who is a Sanyami? A saint, an ascetic. Va means or. Tapasvi, one who does austerities. He who has realized the self, which is innate, sahaj. We don't have to make any effort actually. Effort is always needed for something which we are not. This is a sahaj. This is who we are. Okay? So he who has realized the self which is innate, which is unborn and inconceivable. Because how do we conceive? Through our mind. It cannot be, mind cannot think about it. Is not contaminated by any evil, no dosh in it. There's no lower or higher atma, there's no bigger or smaller atmas. Even if he acts in whatever way he likes, and once he is free from ignorance, he cannot perform any action. It's not that he is not performing actions, but he has become a karma sannyasi. No doership, no bhogtapan, no kartapan. For that reason, the self-controlled mendicant is never bound. Because what binds us? Actions don't bind us. Enjoyment does not bind us. But I am acting, I am doing, I am enjoying, I binds us. So that's why yogi is not bound. He's a tapasvi. He is a sanyami. So non-contaminated by any evil. We have studied Brahma Sutras also. This is an authoritative text of Vedanta, Brahma Sutras. If you have that book still, open your book. Even though I told you earlier, put that book away. But when we are studying something like this, we should open these books. Chapter 4, section 1, verse number 13 says, on the realization of that Brahma, there occur the non-attachment and destruction of the subsequent and previous sins, respectively. They just roll away because it is declared by the scriptures. Sometimes we think, oh, I have done so many bad things. Once you realize it, who you are, they roll away. But if we keep on thinking about it, then they are not rolling away. Then we are solidifying it. Atma doesn't have any evil. Atma does not have any flaw. Atma does not do any sin. Chandogya Upanishad, we haven't done that, but maybe we'll do this one day. Over there, this Rishi says, as water does not cling to the lotus leaf, So no evil clings to one who knows Brahma. Chapter 4, section 14, verse number 3. Chandogya Upanishad. It's a beautiful Upanishad. Hopefully we'll get a chance with God's grace to study this also. And I already mentioned, what does it mean that he cannot perform any action? Because actions originate from desire. And where does the desire come from, by the way? Desire originates from ignorance. Avidya, Kam, and Karam. Right? You remember this is called Hriday Granthi. A person who has really realized Brahma. This Hriday Granthi has opened. Even he is working harder than us. I saw my own Gurudev ji working harder than anybody else I have ever known. 24/7 he was working, helping, family duties also, his professional duties also, ashram duties also. Work, but did not get tired because he knew he was not working. He had that akartapan in him because he did not do anything for himself. There was no desire. He truly lived just like in Chandogya Upanishad, that water drop on the lotus leaf. And that's what we have to do. Learn to live like that so that we don't get absorbed. We don't want to get absorbed into the Prakriti. We are here to get absorbed into the Brahma. That is our goal. So this is what this great Rishi is telling us. So I'll just stop it here. And if you have any question, because it's, I think, 11:15 right now. So, but before any question, let me do that Purnamada. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasheshyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you very much. So if anybody has a question, please.
Me too. Namaste, Hershji.
Namaste, Neetu.
You talked about desire and doubt. You talked about desire in a lot of forms, but can you tell us, after you explain desire, I want to know a little bit more about what are we doubting? What is our number one desire or goal? I know self-realization, but is there something I haven't understood? Can you clarify that?
Desires could be many desires. People have worldly desires, name, fame. See, all those ishnas are the desires. Putreshna, Viteshna, Lokeshna, those are all desires. Putreshna means this clinging to not just a putra only, but that really means the relatives actually, relationship wise. But rishis call them putreshna because average person is more attached to the children. But it could be any relationship. Viteshna means a desire for this worldly wealth. Lokeshna is a desire to be famous, popular. All those ishnas, all those desires, they are like ropes. They tie us down. They don't let us move vertically up. And doubt, the words of the scriptures, the words of the Guru, whenever the doubt comes, our sadhana stops. Guru says God is everywhere. And our own little intellect says, I have not seen it. Guru just says it. That's a doubt. Yesterday I told you, or I don't know, maybe the day before, doubt is like a drop of lemon juice in a beautiful pot of milk.
Okay.
right? We are studying, we are practicing, but a little doubt comes. Somebody can say that, hey, why are you wasting your time?
Yeah.
Doubt comes. So doubts creates all that halchal inside us.
Okay.
Okay. So desires, worldly desires, sure, we should have, initially we should have spiritual desires.
Yeah.
Okay. Those desires are not bad. But
Okay.
ultimately, once we have experienced Brahma, even those desires go away.
So evaporate. They evaporate as you are getting closer.
Yeah, it's just like a climbing on the tree. Once you are already on top of the tree, desire to climb up, why do you need it?
Oh, I
Or
see.
desire to sleep. Sure, I want to sleep. I wash my face, wash my feet, put clean clothes, comfortable clothes, have a comfortable bed. Desire to sleep, doing what needed to be done. But if I keep on desiring, you think I'll be able to sleep?
No.
No. Got to let go of that desire also.
So how do we clip those doubt and desire? What are the methods? Little bit.
Method is more and more love for our Guru and God.
Okay. 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 Okay.
That's all. Love has that Shakti in it,
Okay.
that
Okay.
power.
I see.
Okay, the clarity comes, the calmness comes, the strength is given to us so that we keep on climbing up. Okay, so love for, see, like why do we have a desires for the worldly things? Because we love it,
I see.
right?
Why do we love it? Don't we love God more than the worldly desire, worldly
We
things?
should, but obviously we don't. How easily we let go of the godly duties for worldly duties.
True. True.
Somebody comes to your house, you're supposed to do, you have decided that at 8 o'clock you are going to do your sadhana every night for 1 hour, 2 hours. Somebody comes to your house, what do?
Give up.
Give up. Very easily people give up. There is a birth, there's a death, there's a marriage. We want to please the people. I'm not saying that don't please them, do your duty, but become a God pleaser first.
Why are we so people pleaser? That's like ingrained, I feel, in our social upbringing. I mean, I remember my mother always talking about God, and I resented that. Why it is always about doing things what people say, how people live. And then I know it has progressed, and now to disconnect that is become another effort to
It's okay.
disconnect.
Effort. Initially, we need to make an effort. Ultimately, just like Dattatreya ji said, it's very sahaj. To
Okay.
attain this is sahaj. This is our real nature. This is innate. Okay. So if we have moved away from it, sure, we got to do some practice. But once we are established in it, we will really uh, reap this, what he's talking about, this
Okay.
oneness. Okay.
Okay.
So
Thank you. Thank you so much.
anybody else? Jyoti? No? Okay. So let's, if nobody has a question, you can always, just like Manju did last week, I really liked it that she wrote that doubt, because the main purpose of these classes is, it's not that I know more than you do, but it's like I just, I would say that I was fortunate enough to have a realized guru in my life, okay, in my early years. So I can just relate to it and relate to you. That's all. But do ask questions, do your practice, and do not hesitate. My job over here, my duty as a teacher is to remove the doubts. Okay, that's what it is. So if I don't do my duty, then you won't be able to feel the connection with God. Okay, so but I'm glad that you are coming to the classes and trying to understand this deep philosophy. It's pretty deep, actually. Just like Neetu said, how come we don't feel it? This is the only thing real. And the real we don't feel, unreal we do. And we drown in the unreal. Okay? So now let's just try to meditate for 5 to 7 minutes, and make sure you are sitting straight.